Follow Sportsview London.
Sportsview London boxing news from the capital city with promoter Eddie Hearn. Ed, you've added yet another big name to your stable, young Conor Benn. How does it feel up there on that table, looking his dad, the legend, in the eye, and now you, as Nigel put it, you take the baton and you're in control of his son?
It's emotional, really. I mean, I don't know if it got you, but it got me. You know,
it did actually. I don't often get.
Yeah, I know. You know, Nigel's sort of virtually cracking up talking about his son, and you can imagine how he feels. You know, I mean, it's one thing having a son as a fighter, but it's another thing being a legend and a former world champion having a son as a fighter. But I mean, from a personal point of view, what is inspiring is the faith that he's put in me to work with Conor, and that motivates me beyond belief when someone gives you that responsibility. I'm not a control freak, but I believe I know what I'm doing, and when someone, especially like Nigel Benn, gives you that trust, it means a lot, you know. And I'm excited for Conor Benn. Lovely kid, you know, speaks so well, looks the part, really fight. And I'm excited for people to see him fight, because whenever someone like this starts, you know, it's like, yeah, but how can he really fight? Like, he's Nigel Benn's son. But you'll see, and you'll really enjoy it. But these kind of people, I mean, I'm in a similar position myself, where I've got a successful dad. Do you know what I mean? So whatever you do, sometimes you just, you know, you get labelled, well, you're Barrier and son, aren't you? Yeah, you've had a leg up. Of course, Conor's had a leg up. Do you know what I mean? But it's sometimes more difficult to make your own way and your own path. And but that motivates you as well. And I think the way that his dad is handling his development is impeccable. Because to be over the other side of the world as a former world champion and say to your son, you're on your own, son. Good luck to you. I'm here for you. But I think it's incredible.
It most definitely is, and as I'm sure you're being asked now, we were lucky enough to follow Nigel around for the day. I think late part of last year, and caught Conor on the pads with Jimmy Tibbs, and words from Jimmy Tibbs. Wow, he's just like you, isn't he? You can see him. He's got that killer instinct, isn't he? And how far do you personally think Conor can go in the pro game?
Well, I think it's early days. I think, you know, he hasn't boxed for 2 years since his last amateur fight. Loads of sparring, but it's not the same. And when you walk out in front of 17,000 people at the O2 to make your pro debut, I mean, this is tough. And the way he fights, you have to rein him in. And Tony Sims has got a tough job doing that, because he loves to fight. You know, looking at him and looking at the way he spars and the fact that he's 19, I think, you know, really the world is his oyster, you know. But anything can happen in boxing. It's a tough sport. You know, he's already sparring Burns and Ward and O'Hara Davis and doing well in those spars, but he's also in the infancy of his development with Tony Sims. So I think it's going to be a slow burner, certainly for the first 12 months. I'm going to try and box him in as many venues all over the country as possible. You know, I'm going to do them proud and Nigel proud, especially after when he says things like that. You know, and whether he meant it or not, he's pressed all the right switches with me. You know, because that's, like I say, when you get that kind of blessing from a great, you can only do one thing, and that's deliver.
Do you strike? You've always been openly said that people that put the effort in with you, they get your full attention back. Cool. And with Nigel making references like, I want Conor to have what Chris Eubank and your father had. Yeah, is that touching?
Yeah, I think Nigel probably feels like he didn't have that relationship in his career with a promoter or an advisor that Chris Eubank did with my dad. And I think there are probably times where, not envious, but he probably looked at it and thought, you know, I want that, because my dad and Chris were very, very tight, you know. But I'm not a control freak, but what I do want is people to believe in me. And when people, not really question, but they have a lack of trust, or they want to make their own decisions, or they want to bring in other people who I don't feel are as good as me strategically or promotionally, I'm not really, it takes a little bit of my soul away for that journey, if that makes sense. So doesn't mean I won't be involved, and you know, I think when you look at the likes of Lee Selby and James DeGale, as a good example. You know, they've teamed up with our Heyman, no problem with that. We'll still work together. But don't expect my full heart to be with you, because I feel like a lot of the decisions you're now making are wrong. You know what I mean? So I'm happy to be involved. I still do a great job for you, but you can't expect me to have the same passion that I have for the person who says, Eddie, I know you're the best, in my opinion. So whatever you say, with my training team, I trust and I believe in. You know, and you don't have to say yes all the time, but you have to have the respect both ways. It's just like having a relationship with a girl. If there's no trust, if you don't believe in that person, it ain't going to be a great relationship, is it? If you look at that person, you say 100% trust you, 100% love you. It's a great thing. It's a great journey. So you don't really find that a lot in boxing. You know, I had it with Carl Froch. We've got it at the moment with Conor Benn. We've got it with Anthony Joshua and other fighters. But if you work with me and you believe in me, then you're going to get 120% out of me every time. And when Nigel said something like that to me, I'm balls deep. You know, I'm 1,000,000% invested in this journey. Yeah, because it means from Nigel Benn. I mean, look, he could have been a dad who works in a off licence. I don't know. He's still a father saying that about his son. But of course, when it comes from Nigel Benn, you know, it's like, wow. I mean, I was like, God, pressure's on. But for him to have that belief in me, you know, when Tony Sims said to me, Nigel Benn wants you to call him about his son, first thing I thought was, oh no, not another one. Do you know what I mean? And then it was, listen, I've seen what you've been doing. I know your dad. I know what kind of people you are. I'm putting 100% trust that you'll do the best for my son, and you will not hear from me. And I thought, after the call, I thought, really? And I've not heard from him once in 3 months while he's been in camp. It's unbelievable. But it's you know, it's brilliant at the same time. Brilliant. And we've got a great business, so I want to have relationships with fighters who I do believe in and who we have that trust. I believe you're going to make it, and you believe I'm a great promoter. And when you've got that, like, if I can't have a relationship that's not pleasant, I don't want a relationship. I don't need your money, I don't need your time. Just give me the journey. Give me the nights where I'm proud to represent you. Give me the nights where my heart's beating through my chest. Not looking at you in the ring thinking, like, go on. But I'm an emotional guy. I want to share that passion with the team. And we've got it here. And I can't wait for Saturday.
Yeah, just switching fighters lastly. Biggest accolade I think I've ever heard from a living legend regarding Callum Smith.
Unbelievable, yeah. I just called Joe Gallagher.
He will take out the likes of Golovkin, and has that sitting with you.
I think he sees what a lot of us see in Callum Smith, which is an exceptional talent. I text Callum last night because Nigel told me that last night at the workout. I text Callum straight away. He just said, "Are you kidding?" Question like, "Wow." And he said he wanted to say it today at the press conference. So it's obviously, it's not a case of me saying, no, just do us a favour, talk about Callum Smith. Why would he talk about Callum Smith? We're here for a press conference with his son. That's how impressed he was. Do you know what I mean? And I just phoned Joe Gallagher to tell him, and he was like, wow. So maybe we'll leave Triple G in Kovalev for 18 months, but it's great. But it's just British boxing, isn't it? What a wonderful place it's in. And Callum Smith is just one of so many great young fighters that we've got in there. And look at the world champions we've got. That's one level, but look at the ones underneath that aren't world champions, that you know are either going to be world champions or in world championship fights in the next 12 to 18 months. And not just our guys, other guys as well. It's brilliant at the moment, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, thank you for your time, sir. Much appreciated.
Follow Sports View London